we have, which we're sponsoring, are bringing a whole bunch of different artists participating in this, who are traveling to the moon, will literally have lithographs in nickel of their art on the surface of the moon. And then they can sell the NFTs on Earth. And part of that benefits the Art Mission Foundation, part of it benefits the artists. But the idea here is, it's not negative, actually. It's positive, because what we're doing is we're celebrating, as Lori said, we're doing a parade of all the greatest things about civilization, right? It's not a funeral, it's a celebration. It's a celebration of who we are, and it's a chance for everybody.
I want to make sure we do all know who's about to speak.
I have a question real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Why nickel and not like titanium?
It's a good question. Well, the technology for growing these discs is nickel-based, and it comes from DVD masters, which are made out of nickel. So they literally, we're using the same technology that you grow a DVD master with, right? Except now we're putting Wikipedia and art on it instead of digital data. And we can replicate them that way too.
Thank you, Nova. What you're doing, when I first met Nova, I wanted to hug together. It's an incredible amount of gratitude. It's gratitude towards you and your vision and how you've included the artists in this equation. Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
I want to add to that just real quickly, and then I do what you did, and just Malik and what he sees about creativity in the future. But I just want you guys to imagine really actually having your art on the moon, and you go out in your backyard, and you look up, and your art is on the moon, right? And you're having a day, right? You're trying to make it here on Earth, and you're like, my stuff's on the moon. And you think to yourself, my stuff is on the moon. Okay? You think it's gonna be pretty easy to call that art gallery up and ask them, hey, I'd like to be in your art gallery, because you have the courage and the strength and the vision to be like, I was one of the artists that raised my hands and said, yes, please, I get it. I'm here to leave a legacy. I'm here to make an impact, and I want to be a part of this. And it's all about being first and leading everyone to the future, which my other future's right here, Malik, and I'll let you want me to introduce him, or you want me to still here?
Yeah, go ahead, Laurie.
Okay, it's hard because I'm sitting next to him, and he's big, and he doesn't want me to say anything nice about him. So, I'm gonna keep it really low-key, and this doesn't sound low-key, but Malik Yusef Jones is a poet. That's where his genius starts, with his poetry, for sure. I can't name all the things he's done. All I can tell you is he's an 8-time Grammy Award-winning artist. He's been nominated over 24 times. He's got 40 platinum records. He already hates me so much, I'm gonna pay for this later. And he's won a Tony Award, he's won 7 Emmys. This is the man behind the scenes that in my heart, I know, whether I have to push him, drag him, kick him to streaming, he gets to stand up in the front and speak for the artists, because he is the man behind so many artists that you guys appreciate, follow, love, and have impacted your life. And now it's his turn to step forward. So, yeah.
Thank you. The reason why I don't really like to talk about the awards and stuff, because they already happened. They already took place. We already won or lost the Grammys. All those times. It's a lot of times to lose. It doesn't feel good. You know how human brains work. So I just try to always look at, like, what other places can I impact the industry at? And you can't lose with helping people. You can lose with, like, having the #1 song on Billboard but still losing the Grammy. That feels like a loss. But spending time helping people, guiding young artists of all disciplines, giving back to the communities, the various communities around the world that allow us to feed our children with their money and or attention. You can't lose in that way. Like what Nova's doing, you can't lose. There's no scorekeeper. There's no judge, and that's why I like doing stuff like this. The Emmys is like a shot in the dark, right? It's like, you know, you do a work, and you know, you look at your other friends done a similar or same or better work, and they don't get the Emmy, you get the Emmy, and there's, you know, some survivor's remorse there. But in this space, where there's an equanimity and an equality amongst artists, like we're all the same, we're just all applying our trade, we're all just improving our talents, and we're all just sharing. And that's a different space for me. I have had a lot of accolades, and I'm grateful for it, but what's today? I consider myself a futurist. I mentioned the term Black Future in 2002 on the album I did. And people were like, Black Future, what's that? I was like, it's implementing the people that have been here forever into the future, because television at the time didn't reflect that. And film is art, television is art, and the art didn't reflect that there's a future for people like me, for people that are my children and my children to be. And I just didn't like that at all. So I wanted to be very implicit about the fact that I'm here and my very presence means there's a future. And I like to use the phrase, the future started already. If you're looking for it, you're too late. If you're looking for the future, it's now. This is the future. We are in the future. We've always been the future. There's never a time. We call it the present because we want to present ourselves as part of it, but it's really the future. That's okay. No, that's okay. They're enjoying themselves. It's okay. We're enjoying ourselves. It's cool. So with what Nova's doing and what Laureate are doing, it feels to me like now is the acceptable time. You know, once upon a time in a space called now, space-time continuum and all these ethereal ideas and metaphysical terminology that we can use, it all just means right now. It all just means you're still writing your success story. You're writing it right now. I tell the youth that I work with, no matter where I'm at, I tell the youth that I work with, I say, the most important part of your story is these two words, and then, because it all changes with that. I went through this, I lost this, I lost that, this happened, somebody mean to me, man. And then, that is it. If you can master that part, capture that into your heart, of course you wind up on the moon. Where the fuck else would you be? Of course you're gonna land on the moon. And there's some facilitators that assist that, but it's your veracity, it's your belief that gets you there. And as I say all the time, like people say, oh, hope is, you know, it's foo-foo-feely, it's wazy-woozy, it's nebulous concept. No. Hope is an actual spirit. It's an actual living, breathing entity that you join yourself with. That's why hope can't be quantified nor qualified. It's not either qualitative or quantitative. It's not spatial. It's not even temporal. It is literally a being that is operating throughout our universe forever, forever and ever and ever and ever. And when you have a lack of resources, be that in materials or with people, you have hope, and hope is some type of a binding force that binds you to dreams. Dreams you can't adhere to a dream without hope. Hope is some type of adhesive, it's a spiritual, it's in the dark matter of the universe that binds you to your dream. If you have a dream without hope, you don't even have the dream. Just get some regular fucking sleep. Don't you dare dream without hope. Don't you dare. Because hope doesn't care about who's on your team or not. Hope doesn't care. It just wants you to want it. It just wants you to need it. And then it enlivens it. And it animates. And it comes to you. And sometimes it comes slow, sometimes it comes, but it's coming. And once you know that you have hope, it starts to exist. And once you feel that, you can move through this. And sometimes you don't feel it. You just have to just keep pushing it. And it binds you to your dreams. And 8 years old, you had a dream. And now you're 28 years old. 20 years later, you had a dream. And this is what we all talk about. Because dreams don't come true, they are true. They are a dimensional aspect of your actual self. They can't exist, and they are personalized to you. That dream is for you. Now, somebody else might go and snatch it because they are more, have a more voracious appetite for it and passionate about the thing they want, but it is yours until you choose to give it up. So don't give up hope. Never, ever give up hope, no matter how ugly, dark, cold, low, destructive, monstrous. Because hope springs eternal. And eternal is forever. And the future is forever. Thank you.
It blows my mind because the art project that I decided to birth, to put on the Lunar Art Museum, starts out with these words. They're the words from Dr. King, I have a dream.
Come on.
Yes.
Woo! And they go to another preacher, I keep hope alive. I needed that 2 years ago when my mother died in the COVID. Okay? And I was an artist. So thank you, brother. Beautiful.
I'm so grateful for all these men right here that are so focused on making this project happen, the heart share. This is really a heart-based team. I keep saying God is with us, that's what I say, because it is. I cannot tell you how organic, how a girl from Cincinnati, Ohio would be friends with the top 20 futurists and be friends with the top 20 futurists in music and art, top in fashion. I don't know how it happened. I just know that I've always believed I was the bridge that brought all the great people together, and I've always loved being that person. So when we went to Malik and asked him to be a part of this, to represent, we see him as a leader in the creative community with so many people, not just important people, not just influential people, but children. He has so many works that he does all over the world. And so when we asked him to be a part of this, could we put, project, he has a couple projects that he's putting on our Lunar. He's a partner in our project with us. He's part of our company. It was such an honor, and it's like the minute he said yes, and I heard all what you just heard, but in a whole nother way from him on the Zoom call, I was like, that is my king, and I will follow him to the end of the world. But I mean, I knew then that we were going to attract just the right amount of creative, right-spirited people in this room, the people at this event. It's just been extraordinary. So I'm so excited that we found a way to open up a way to invest in our company. I mean, I've raised over $4 billion, $5 at a time. For the disabled American veterans, yes, thank you. My dog died of cancer and lost his leg, and I found out kibble was the reason. So I got pissed off at kibble and started a dog company with $500,000 of my own money. Took on a $72 billion industry, no celebrities, no influencer, no veterinarian, no background, just a story about a mom who loved her dog and said it was bullshit that you guys didn't know what was going on with the dog's food. And 3 years later became the 39th fastest growing company in America. So it's been hard, right? It should have never happened. I'm telling you, there were so many days that people asked me how I did it, and I said, just remember back in the days where there would be like cars at the mall, and people put their hands on it, and then like whoever was the last person holding onto the car got it. That's how I felt at the end. Like I felt like my partner was holding my hand, and it was just shaking, and it was just
so difficult sometimes. But the reason it worked is because God was with that project. We took on 7% we grabbed 7% of the freeze-dried food market. We opened it up so people realized that there was better food. So now you have Farmer's Dog, but we were before Farmer's Dog. We brought this message to the people before that. So we help dogs live longer and better, and to me, animals are a big part of people and helping people. So, and the reason I mention that is that when Nova, I sold my company. I got the dream. I sold my company. I'm going to build an animal sanctuary. I'm doing equine therapy. I'm helping veterans. Okay, I know how to do this. And so let me tell you right now, my dad, if he's not a billionaire, he's close. And this is my biological father I found when I was 25. Whole other story. So if I needed a check to fund this company, I've already written my own check. Nova's written his check. That's how we've gotten here today. It wasn't about that. I can raise the money. That's not a big deal. It's not hard for me. What I want to do is let the people have a part of it, right? So that's when Dallas came back to me and he said, look, I said, we can't do NFTs like we wanted to because of SEC and security laws, and I do have a lot to lose. I'm not 24. I'm like, I don't want to go to jail. And so I said to, then I'll let you talk about this, but I said to Dallas, find me a way. And if those of you guys who know Dallas, if he says he'll find a way, he'll find a fucking way. I'm telling you that right now. So he went out, he came back, he said, we've got a platform called Net Capital. We're going to be able to share a share of the company for $111. I mean, it's pretty affordable. Grant everyone an NFT and grant them a piece of land in our metaverse. I don't know about you, but I mean, if you don't have $111, that's cool. But if you do, you get to be a part of something. So that's what's important to me. So know that we're not counting on you to support us that way. We can do this another way. We want you to be a part of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if I have to do it $111 a time, let me tell you right now, it'd be a lot easier for me to call my dad and be like, can you just give me a check for da-da-da? Okay, it would be so easy. I don't want to do it my way. I want to go with all of you. And I want us to all win. Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. Kenji, I'm going to introduce next. Kenji is, you call him a fiscal conservative. He's been in business with me for 12 years. He came from KPMG. He joined our team together. We've gone on to produce projects for Fox Sports, Bloomberg, NASDAQ Television, Fox Business. He's a fiscal conservative. I go on a production and he wants to use Groupon. And I appreciate that. Okay? I like that about Kenji. And so Kenji is the guy in the team that's the numbers guy, the analyst. He understands the industry really well with that kind of a background. He's the person that will say on our team, you know, Dallas, you're full of it. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to work. You know, he's an analyst. He analyzes everything mathematically, boils it down. So we got to talk to Forbes, the editor-in-chief of Forbes. We got to talk to Nifty Gateway. You guys know Nifty Gateway. We got to talk to some top leaders in the industry and ask them what they thought about this project, the top collector in the United States of America. And they told us that this project had the highest utility value in the whole world, that this project was a game changer for the entire art community and for the NFT industry. So Kenji, tell us why they think that. I mean, that's quite a statement for Nifty Gateway, Forbes, and others that say that this has the highest utility value. What do they mean by that?
Sure. I think if I take a step back and just look at any company, whether it's an NFT business, whether it's a clothing business, you know, a dog food business, I think if you know the why of your company, of why I'm doing something, the utility of what am I providing, what am I doing to help society, the human race, that's really what is the underpinning evaluation of any business, right? And so now we go into the Web3, NFT, space, you know, all these different verticals that are converging. You know, a company like Nifty Gateway or an investment banker, you know, they probably get a lot of different white papers, they get a lot of different companies outside of Web3 pushed to their desk, and they're like, oh, this is just another one of these vanilla projects that are doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. The one thing that really stuck out to me, and I think is also what resonated with Nifty Gateway and the investment bankers we work with, is that the why factor was really important and significant. You know, I think Malik, what you were saying, there's things that I can measure as a numbers guy and quantify. There's things that, as a team, you can do things very excellently with providing the right structures, the right strategic plans and visions, and of course our vision has that, but there's the intangibles like the hope. There's the things that like you can't quantify that I think are really embedded in this project. There's things that will last for eternity that are affecting humanity, that are affecting things after we pass on beyond our lives that help the next generation. There's things, these intangible factors that, you can have a really successful business, you can have every single thing, just because you have the best kitchen doesn't make you a chef, right? And so, that's my point with this project. Like, of course, like, we can have the most beautiful kitchen, but we have the best chefs as well, right? And I think that's what made the difference with Different Gateway and the people that we've been talking to.
So Kenji, you worked at KPMG, you were an analyst, and even this past year, you've been asked to come in to top NFT projects and create something called a market valuation. So explain to us what a market valuation is in terms of a project. What does that actually mean?
Sure. I mean, there's the traditional way on if you took an MBA, you can like look at the balance sheet, you can look at Ibadante's calculations, then you can look at the Web3 way of, and also I would say crypto, looking at market cap of a token, seeing how volatile it is, and I think we've all been through, this recent effect of like FTX and everything, and seeing a lot of things are kind of artificial, kind of fake, right? And so to really quantify a valuation, there's also I think the most important piece I think is also the human capital. And so I really appreciate our team, like Dallas and I worked 12 years, everyone on this team has known each other for like at least 15 years, I'd say. There's a trust built into our team that, when companies are looking at different evaluations, the human capital is really the X factor that really stands out beyond the balance sheet and all the evaluation model. And if they see that this team's been to war, has taken companies public, has the track record, has the history, has the awards, the accolades, like that's really what, anyone that's doing an evaluation on you, that's an investment bank, a VC, they're doing team due diligence now. They don't, there's so many things that you can write a projection on a market evaluation, but really, any smart VC, especially in the bear market, they are evaluating founders. They're just asking, is this your side project? Is this the main project you're doing? They really are trying to piece together, like, are you really committed to this, right? And so that's truly like, as an investor, probably even as an artist, you're asking like, are we committed to this? Yes, right? Like whether you're a person buying the NFT, whether you're the VC writing a check, there's these questions of like, how serious are these people actually sending this to the moon, right? So those are the like human capital components of evaluation that really, especially in this market, the people are really having a tighter evaluation on.
Okay, so rarability factor, that's an equation that's used to describe an art collection. Everybody's heard of that. Rarability factor is very, very important. So the editor-in-chief of Forbes, Monaco, Dustin Planthold, who flew out here to meet with us, he said that this project, he thought at the highest level rarability. The top collector in our entire industry said that he felt that the project had the highest rarability index. Would you explain to us what that actually means?
Sure, and I think,
how taking the art to the moon creates that rarability.
Yeah, because I think we've all have been familiarized and exposed enough to this industry that we can know that there's always going to be a finite amount of NFTs that one can mint in a vacuum and put on a blockchain and list on Different Gateway, list on any platform. But the utility beyond that of where you're placing that, and the fact that you can physically place a copy of that in an atmosphere that no other project can touch, there's rarability levels that are reached. There's like levels to things, right? And I think that's a level that a lot of projects didn't even know existed. And it's a really special place. There's places where, I think even as musicians and artists, there's levels to musicality, there's levels to poetry. There's levels that you go to that comes with experience, that comes with, when you're in meditation, when you're really like in your creative zone. I think, as a person that looks at evaluation, that looks at companies, I can see like if this project, if I was just being outside looking at objective, there is levels that are being achieved in terms of the rarability scale that hasn't been achieved in other projects with what's happening in space.
You guys have seen Let's Make a Deal, right? Let's Make a Deal. The show with the briefcase. What is it? That's the show.
Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. You remember the briefcase guy, right?
Yeah.
This is the guy, the briefcase guy. Kenji, he'll never say it, he's very humble, but he has a network around the world of at least 50 venture funds that he works with. He will be leaving shortly to go over to Asia to directly see a fund that just announced this week that they have $1 billion to invest. Kenji knows where the money is, okay? He's the one who brought us Net Capital. I want to recognize him, okay? How did that come to us? To an investment banking firm, which is the #2 banking firm in the entire world, okay? Kenji's relationships and trust. He's that guy that's up in the dark space there, and you look at that and say, who's that guy? This is Kenji on our team. He's extremely connected. He's extremely respected. Sometimes people say to me, who's that guy? When he goes into the offices of investment banking firms, they know who he is, and he's not going to bring them any rug pulls or crappy projects. So we work in the space of regulated projects, and I want to explain to you why that's so important in this space right now. See, the truth of the matter is, and I've been speaking about this very vocally in the industry. I have been in the 1%. It's not easy to be in the 1%. I have been speaking out against many things in the NFT industry for a long time. My peers know that. Okay? I have been trying to be honest and sincere about the future of this industry, that it's got to go to rehab. Okay? It's got to go to rehab. It's got to go to rehab. And it starts with us. So one of the things that we're doing with this project is that you cannot buy an NFT in this project. You cannot buy, Lori said it, you cannot buy an NFT in our project. It's not for sale in our project. You become a shareholder in a regulated company licensed underneath the Net Capital platform, which is regulated by the SEC, that knows every single shareholder that's involved in the company, knows that you put $111 in, or you put $222 in, or you put $1,000. They know your name, they know your address, they know who you are. And they also know who the hell we are, too. And we don't live in the Bahamas. We live in the United States of America. This is NASA. This is SpaceX. This is Intuitive Machines. These companies, if I'm not mistaken, they're all based here in the United States of America, right? Thank you. That's a NASA joke for sure. So this project has been curated to be a very special project in the planet, where you can buy an NFT right now from our company. You become a stakeholder in our company. You become a shareholder, and we report to the public about the status of our company, okay? And what we're doing with the money, and where it's going. This is what is wrong with our industry. I'm sorry, it gets me very upset. They've taken people's money and not told them what the hell they were doing with it. This is wrong.
Or what they were getting for the money.
Okay, what's that?
Or what they were getting for the money.
Yes, this is wrong. I'm speaking against it right now, okay? It's wrong. It's wrong, and I called it out. We had attorneys up on this panel here the last few days, a couple of them. Some of them are prosecuting the biggest cases against these companies that did wrong. So this is the turning point. At Basel, we want to turn the industry around with something new. That's right, something new for the future, okay? And what is the future is taking our art, making it special, creating a legacy, creating a raribility, like Kenji said, the bankers will flock to the project. The investors will come into the project. We don't have any doubt about that. Now, don't think that we need $100 million to go to the moon. How much does this project to go to the moon cost with everything? NASA, SpaceX, Intuitive Machines, how much does it cost?
So, I can't disclose all the details of the costs, but sending a mission to the moon does cost $100 million or more. However, we are a passenger on the mission that's being paid for by the US government and a bunch of commercial partners of SpaceX and so forth. So we don't have that cost burden. In fact,
this mission is going to happen. I want to make that's the point. This mission is going to happen. It's already been paid for. Okay?
That's true, it has been paid for. And there's also a nonprofit component to part of it. So we also have a lot of space donated to us on the payload. So that enables us to do something kind of extraordinary for extremely low cost, relatively speaking. And then that makes it possible also to to monetize this for the artists in the end, because we are
That's
taking
beautiful.
out money for ourselves.
The artist, this is why I wanted to hug you when I met you. Because I get to work hard as an artist. I get to hand you my art, my poetry, my music. And this has already been paid for.
Well, I'd like to add something there. I'd like to open this up for Malik to talk about something because he gets asked, I mean, I'm not the first person ever asked him, hey, you want to do something with me? I mean, unfortunately, he'd say yes to as many people as he could, but he's like us. We all have one thing in common. We have the same amount of hours in a day. It's just what we choose to do with them, right? This is a man who values time over money. And he likes money, don't get me wrong, but he values time over money, right? And I'd like for him to talk about, it was a perfect timing, and he has at least two projects going there, but I'd love for him to talk about why he decided to be a part of this, and then about his project that he's doing that I definitely would not even attempt to speak for him on that. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, thank you. And Kenji, Nova, you guys, Dallas, I have the utmost respect for your integrity in an industry that doesn't value integrity, because you can make a lot of money being disintegrous. Lori has literally drawn a line of demarcation between them and us. And I enjoy being the us because I am for the equitable treatment of other humans. It's probably how I'm born, but I also practice it. It's probably just my nature too, though, And I see so many people in this industry that utilize the public, and they enjoy playing the public for a fool. They enjoy putting up an empty shack with a nice sign on it. And you walk in and they say, that spot on the wall, that's the art that you go home. And they go back behind the scenes, they laugh. They laugh with each other, they commiserate about how gullible humans are, humans are gullible, but we had to be gullible because we had to be malleable enough to evolve in certain environments that probably weren't the easiest for us to live in. So we had to be able to evolve to eat certain foods for sustenance and get a taste. That's why when you go around the world, you go certain places and you're like, okay, this is a new thing for me. Especially if you grew up in America and you go to Korea for the first time, they're like, this is from the lake that's there. This is raw fish from that lake. You're like, okay, let me get to this part. And it helps the brain grow, though. But humans are made for that. We're designed for that. So when Lori gave me her 2-hour spiel about her company, which was the short version, by the by, just so you fucking know. She could have went on for another, day or so with it, and I love it. But it's also concise, right? It's also well thought out, and it's plans. So it's strategy, and it's the implementation and tactics, where I just thought was so beautiful. And the team that she works with is very difficult. For all the creatives out there, build a team. Build a team that is sturdy, that you can trust, that will show up when that it's time to show up. Like, me flying in Art Basel was not in my original plans, right? I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, but I have to be dependable. So there's something we're doing together, starting in February. This is for all the musicians and visual artists out there. We're gonna have 366 visual artists. We're gonna release one song per day from 2/3/23 until 2/4/24. The first time in 10,000 years is 24/24. It's the first time. We've not had that date. No, 100,000 years. 24/24. It's the first time. So when we talk about putting quality art into the space, and also there's talking points that each one of these songs will have. The songs are going to be 3 minutes and 33 seconds, but they're all going to raise talking points, and there'll be discussion points around this whole elephant in the room concept. What are we afraid to talk about? And why are we afraid of it? because it challenges our base principles that were taught to us. You're not born with any of your beliefs. They're given to you by people that believe they love you, that either want to protect you or protect themselves. So we're taught sexism, we're taught racism, all the isms and all of these different obias that people have, they're given to you. And they're allowed to flourish. And if we could take a step back and use art as an antidote, not an anecdote, an antidote, where art is a living thing, right? It's a living, breathing thing. If we can use that as a salve, if we can use that as a balm, a healing balm, which we can, which we do. And I'll say this, art, for me, art is designed to comfort the disturbed and to disturb the comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, and we're excited.
I love that. We do have some questions from the audience. And I know that Nadine has told us she wanted to come up here and ask a question. So come on up here, Nadine. Pop up here, please. And Ori, hop up here too. These are also artists, by the way, that are part of the Lunar Art Museum mission. If you want to stand right here, and you can stand right here as well too. These are artists that. How'd you get in? I mean, how'd you get
That's
into
the fam.
the project? How'd you do this? How did it happen?
Well, I'm super grateful to be one of your longtime friends, and you know I'm committed to.
Cronyism is the answer. Cronyism.
I'll be honest, but you know, just watch my journey. I make art to uplift humanity, and my intention is to inspire a greater world, a greater humanity. And so I make sure you've seen that in me and honored that in me, and thank you for the opportunity to share that in such a beautiful way, such an amazing community.
See, you know what? Your love is multiplying everywhere. So much gratitude. See that? That's it like that. It's that you had. Ori, I know you feel the gratitude too to be here, sharing. You told us this week is like blowing your whole mind away, right?
I mean, the other day was literally the best day of my life. Some of you guys, like literally, and for those of you who know my life, it's a pretty crazy and high standard. So, it says a lot, but Timberland was sitting on stage with Snoop Dogg, Steve Cordell, and on either side of them was the painting that's over there on the top right of that screen, and above them, on that screen was actually a collaboration that I did with Nadine. It was her riding a whale in space with the Earth spinning, and it was just a very surreal moment. When you talk about gratitude, basically what she said, but about Lori, because I've known her for like nearly a decade, and her very first words to me were words of mentorship, and I always tell her that I never forget that. Most people don't just walk up to you and introduce themselves with advice on how to get further. And funny enough, 2016 when she actually said hello, it was she invited me to come live paint at the Pet Expo in Orlando. And I was like, oh, first time to float around as an artist kind of thing. And now here we are, and we're sending stuff to the moon. She believed in me before I was on stage with Alice Cooper, dropping in the street dogs, and everyone's like, oh yeah, well, that's Ori, you know. But she taught me about when, you know, starving and all that good stuff. So we've come a long way, and this mission is just a symbol of that, yeah, you could be struggling and fighting, and there's people who believe in you, and now it's like all of humanity can look up and see your work. I mean, it's a huge symbol of basically what she said, and oh yeah, I've been creating a new work of art every single day for the last 3,878, 80 something days. I got Google it every couple of days. You lose track after the first 3,000 something days. big. Yeah, and like no art, no sleep. Valentine's
But that takes
Day.
discipline. He just said, wow. Malik just said, wow, this is the man just told me I have like 3,000 songs in his catalog or something. No, he doesn't really. But I'm saying, like, I want to say that about Ori. I picked Ori because, you know, it's important that you have the ability to keep going. When you get knocked down, it might not be easy, right? We're not always going to be at the beginning of the project, you know? And I know Ori's not a quitter because I watched him for 10 years make a painting every day. And every day without fail, over 10 years. I mean, and to me, he's always been a friend I can count on, and he's got the biggest heart of anyone I know, and he literally is a genius. He is a genius, for sure, and he was born to do this, and I'm so glad to be one of God's stewards to make sure it happens. So, thank you.
Lauren and I had a joke last night. We said when we die and we go to heaven. She told me why she's going to get into heaven.
I have a daughter and we love her very much, but she does suffer from some bipolar stuff like many artists do. I'm not afraid to say it. Borderline personality disorder. Beautiful girl, very successful, rides horses, trying to go to the Olympics and dealing with all of that. And doesn't want to go on medication, so we were working it out. And so I was joking around with Dallas that I used to say that, if you don't mind me stand up, because I like to, you know. I used to say, it's like when I go in to walk up to the pearly gates, because I was raised Southern Baptist, okay? So I had a whole bunch of sins I was taking with me. And I said, despite all of this, despite that, I was the most loyal, generous person to every person I ever met or loved. And every once I love you, I would always love them, and I was ride or die, even if I shouldn't have been, and I stood for my friends and my family, and that's why I should get into heaven. Like, despite all the mistakes, that was the one thing that I never quit doing. Now, it's gonna be more like, you know, this guy goes up for me, okay, look, I know I wasn't very good with my wife in the 70s, but I did this, and I'm really sorry, and I went to church, and I fed the poor, and did this, and okay, you get to go in. Next person comes, okay, I was a terrible boss, but I figured it out, and I hired everyone back, and I saved families, and the dolphins, and the whales, and I've never, ever touched a plastic straw. You go in. Here's how I'm going in, ready? Logan. I do love my daughter, but that's what you're talking about, is a joke. So I'm sure we all have those moments.
My way to heaven is going to be one word. I have a deep empathy in my heart for struggling artists. I was raised by a mother who was a journalist for their children, a grandmother who was a painter, a grandfather. I was raised with artists, hippies, and beatniks. You know.
So I tell Dallas, this is you going to heaven, artists.
Now, the next person I want to introduce quickly is a woman who has a business. She's an entrepreneur who lives in Los Angeles. And you know what? She doesn't have anything in the museum right now. She doesn't have an NFT yet that she put up all over the place. She came to me and she told me that she really wants to show her artwork. She showed it to me. She had drawn a painting of women in Iran, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. Why did you want to do that?
Women in what?
She goes, I've got time.
Iran.
And I said, we got to get this release. To Miami, to Basel. And let's do this thing. So this is her today, going to the moon, too.
Thank you so much, Dallas. It was such a beautiful thing to have met Dallas and have him as a mentor. And all these amazing people like Lori creating these opportunities, Nova creating this kind of technology. I never thought I would be in a position to ever showcase my art. I was a fine arts minor. I switched out of art because I thought it was not going to be good for me. So then I decided to be a startup now. Very much different. My company is called Gala. It's an investment community. So then basically when I had the opportunity to showcase my artwork, I wanted to show the utility behind it. So I wanted to actually draw what was going on very relevant right now in the news, which was the women in Iran. So Masa Amini and all of the suffering that they're going through. Putting their lives on the line every day to basically make a change in history. I mean, this is the first time in history of a magnitude of uprising like this for women, historically so. It's a huge pivotal significance, and I wanted to help amplify those voices because they are putting their lives on the line every single day when they're subjecting themselves to an insane amount of like torture that might not ever be able to be done. And this is just showing the utility and showcasing that.
Thank you so much. I know that God showed me for this project, and the reason is because something Malik said. In my heart is an idea of equality. Every human being is valuable. It doesn't matter what religion, faith, ideology, where you come from, you're valuable. And I knew that I could be trusted by God to value everyone. And everybody that came to me as an artist, it wasn't about favoritism, or were you part of the boys club, or were you part of the Nifty Gateway top 10 sellers. It was going to be based on quality. I was looking for quality. Quality is important. To go to the moon, that's the thing. We got to send a message to the future generations that what we put on the moon represented humanity. That's your vision, though. Represented all of humanity. So I sought out to make sure we included indigenous people, people from other tribes, people from other cultures, people who are oppressed, men, women, Native Americans. And then I found out about a photographer down in Mexico. And when I know the story of Mexico, because last year we had Frida Kahlo's artwork here, right? And when I went and looked into her story, I found out she was an oppressed artist. She was a Latina. She was a female. She was from the LGBT community. She suffered tremendously. And when I heard about Pepe Soho, this photographer, I said, we got to make sure that we're including the Latino community as well. What do you got going on? So I met Jeff, I met Austin. Tell us the story.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeff Downey. I represent a company called Uno Meta, and we represent our artist called Pepe Soho. So, long story short, Pepe Soho is a two-time World Photographic Cup winner, and Pepe's plight is to put his art in front of as many people as possible. And the reason why is because Pepe is an open-hearted, gratitude-filled, loving, kind person. And what he really is seeking to do is to be able to show this healing journey through exposure, through what Dallas has allowed us to showcase, and to do this on the moon. So we couldn't be more excited, we couldn't be more proud, we couldn't be more filled with gratitude to be able to represent Pepe and be able to have this stuff be there for a million years on the moon. So we're filled with gratitude, we feel extremely, extremely satisfied to be able to do this and be part of this. So we're extremely grateful. Thank you guys very much.
Good facts. This artist is the first time that they're doing an NFT-related project. And last week, I believe it was last week on Thanksgiving, Jeff called me on Thanksgiving. He said, man, if you go to America, we know on Thanksgiving we eat turkey, U.S. football game, what'd you call me? He said, because I have to tell you that we have a buyer for the very first art piece. And I won't tell you what it boiled down to, but it would represent a record for a single photo from the initial NFT sales. I'm sure of that as a record. And the reason is the investor looked very carefully at this entire project in the middle of a shitstorm in the NFT world that said, wait a minute, all these amazing, talented people, oh, this is going to go to fabulous, talented artists. I'm in, count me in, and others as well. So this is why we can help artists. This is our vision. We want to help increase their value of what they're worth, what they're really truly worth. Okay? That's a fact. So this is what Kenji talked about, utility, value, valuation. This is what we're doing here at the project. So I want to thank all of you for coming out here. And we're going to go back to wrap up with our lead panels. Thank you guys so much. We love the art. Now, 222 artists are going to go to the moon. We do have some more slots. We've got to talk to artists now because the deadline is December 14th. It's an opportunity. December 14th, we take the files, they go to his team, they get minted in Texas, they get engraved and etched into plates, and they're off to the moon. So, Lori?
Well, people have been asking me, like, just so they get more information, because it's hard, I know, for you to manage. You can't have 500 WhatsApps happening for you. So we did create like a page for people to just put their information in, and it's gll.space. So it's super easy to remember, gll.space, and they can put their information in, so you can follow, your team can follow up with the curation team. And so I just want to make sure you knew that, because I don't know if I told you that.
See, myself, if you're an artist and you're looking to get on board, does anybody have any other questions? We posed a question to Nova. Anybody got a question? Go ahead.
So if you were to get the opportunity to submit and what the type of file that you would provide, like the type of a medium, for instance. So for instance, so I have a series called Mars Imagination. I've been working on it for 5 years, and it has like a painting in it and a video and it's mixed media. So then, is it okay to submit a video of the painting, a painting of the video? You know what I mean? So like, how do you really capture the experience, or how do you want it, and we'll do it?
So the 222 artists are really giving us pictures of art, visual art. It can be anything that you can put in a picture.
Okay.
So it can be a sculpture, but it has to be a picture. And it's going to get engraved, or really it's a surface relief, but anyway, it's going to be etched into nickel, essentially, and it'll appear as monochrome. Now, if your art is color, how are you going to represent color? You're going to give us 4 images, right, for a color separation. We're going to put each one next to each other in the nickel, so that it can be recombined to make a color image. So, you know, it will last forever. It has to be nickel because it's an element that doesn't decay. And it can survive the radiation and the heat and the cold of the moon, which is a very extreme environment. Now for video and other content like that, there is a digital part of the storage, and we have a very limited amount of that storage space, but it is possible to get into that, but you have to talk about that with Dallas and Lori.
Well, we actually have a digital layer going, because we have, she's anonymous, but she's one of the top, maybe the largest Apple shareholder, but she herself is anonymous, and she gives back to the artist communities all the time, and she's really involved with documentary films. And so what they did was they took all these films from over the last 100 years of all these documentaries that people did about the atrocities and things that are taking place, 20,000 different filmmakers. They had over 100 editors, and they took all of these pieces of these films and created 6 15-minute films, and it really does capture. It's extraordinary, and you'll be able to view it in the meta part of our project. But it's extraordinary. So it is a digital layer to carry that to the moon, and so there is a little bit of space on there for some certain projects that have a video component in it. So just so people know that, it's just like Nova said, it's not going to be analog. So I mean, you won't have an analog visual of it because it's a video, but they are giving us some stills from the films. And then we're representing those, you know, there. So it's still
Very good question. Excellent question. So JPEGs, movie files,
PDFs, JPEGs, anything, any image file.
music files, music files.
Files and video files, a limited amount of space for those. But yes, it can be done.
Okay, great. Thank goodness for that. A question for Malik.
Okay, well, this is, I guess, a question for the entire panel. So I'm with the Space Force Association. I'm also part of a couple of incubators with AFWorks and SpaceWorks, and I just want to throw that out there in case you guys wanted to work with us. Yeah. I'm also an astronaut candidate for Space for Humanity. So.
Oh, amazing.
Very good.
And also, you probably won the award for best outfit at our
She's asking you too. Do you want to work with her?
Oh yes, of course. We are, you know what, I told my daughter, she's 13 now, when she was 4, she said, Daddy, if you're good when you die, do you go to heaven? I said, well, yeah, you know, just a perfunctory question at a dad. Yeah, of course. She was like, well, where's heaven? Because Earth is already in space. And that literally changed my life.
Wow.
And I've been working toward that understanding and proving to her that there is goodness in all dimensions. And space just happens to be the closest dimension to us. So, but yes, we would love to work. I can speak for everybody, I'm sure we would love to work with you. Yes, thank you so much. Don't leave, please, so we can get your information. Thank you.
I mentioned this yesterday too. Women have been underrepresented in our industry. And I spoke on a panel last year at Basel about this. They've been underrepresented, and I know why, because I'm a man. I'm a man, so I understand why. Because men do this sort of thing, they think they can just connect with each other, become powerful on the sports fields and basketball fields. This is what we do as men. We learn how to play sports and we learn how to play with each other. But we've got to include, and we have to step up as men. And when I found out that there was a woman, the first woman in the history of the world to be an executive, to be a CEO, to be a leader, to be a pioneer, to be leading this project, I was instantly attracted to that. I said, I want to work with someone like that. So we have a female leader leading this project. Do you understand? Okay, and she recruited us all. She recruited Malik, me, Kenji, and she takes care of him too. That's actually the truth. She really, I've seen it in action. She's got his back. Okay?
But Nova could have asked anybody. And he asked a woman on purpose because he's always elevated women, and I know why he asked me, but he also asked me because I was a woman and did these other accomplishments and knew I could run with him because we've been friends for so long. But he is constantly elevating. Nova is Jewish. He's constantly elevating. When you look at the disc he curated with 30 million pages, data on it, he was so inclusive. Everything was included.
Yes,
He didn't
yes.
disclude anything. And that is who he's been as a human. And if you met his wife, you would understand why she really trained him well.
That's so true. When I found that out 2 days ago, that in the mission, his vision was to create the sacred text of all people. Whether you're a Native American with sacred text, or a person who's Jewish of faith, or believes in the Bible, or a Buddhist. He believes we're putting a mission together for all of humanity, and we just know how things can become political, or only for us, or those people, or the boys club, or whatever. No, I won't participate in anything like that, because I told you I was put on the earth to represent doing things in equality. Kenji, anybody got a question for Kenji? The guy that's with the briefcase here, understands math, economics, money. Anybody got a question? Okay, we're really good. We have another panel. Let's give this round of applause to this team. They're hanging out here to get to meet you. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank all of you for participating in the panel. Stick around right now because there's even more.